Hello, everyone. I am the sleep storyteller, and I am here to help you today. I know you use this video to fall asleep, so before we begin, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out a lot. Also, let me know in the comments, where are you from and what time. Hello, everyone. Now I am the sleep storyteller and relax, and I am here to help. The fire had burned low in the halls of Rivendell when Gandalf sat alone, pipe in hand, staring into the embers as if seeking visions in their dying glow. The War of the Ring had passed, yet memory clung to him like a mist over forgotten ruins. He had walked the lands of Middle-earth for an age, but there were roads yet untraveled, whispers yet unanswered. It was in the quiet of the night, as the river sang softly beyond the arches, that Elrond approached. "You are restless," Elrond said, his voice calm, but his keen eyes filled with knowing. "There are things yet unfinished," Gandalf murmured. "Paths I did not walk, names I did not seek. The east still calls to me, though I long thought its voice was lost." Elrond inclined his head. Rhûn and Harad remain veiled in shadow. The blue wizards wandered there long ago, and of their fate, even I know little. Gandalf nodded, his thoughts stretching back to the days when he and the two Astari, Aladar and Palando, first stepped upon the shores of Middle-earth. They had been sent to contest the darkness, but while he had remained in the west, they had ventured beyond the reach of the White Council. He had always wondered what became of them. Were they lost, or had they built something in silence, hidden from both Sauron and the eyes of the Valar? "I must go," Gandalf said at last. "One last journey before I depart these shores forever." Elrond did not argue. He merely placed a hand upon Gandalf's shoulder and spoke words that were both a blessing and a warning. "Then tread lightly, Mithrandir, for in the lands beyond the maps, there are powers older than Sauron's dominion. Some may sleep, others may wake." And so, on a gray dawn, Gandalf set forth, clad in robes of traveling gray, his staff humming faintly with unseen power. He rode eastward, past the familiar lands of Rohan and Gondor, beyond the ruins of fallen kingdoms, where the tongues of men grew strange and the stars unfamiliar. Days turned to weeks as he passed into the lands of the south, where the sands of Harad stretched golden under a cruel sun, and the bones of ancient creatures lay half buried in the dunes. One evening, as he made camp beneath a broken obelisk covered in nameless runes, he was approached by figures wrapped in deep blue veils, their eyes sharp as a falcon's gaze. They did not speak at first, but studied him with wary curiosity. When at last their leader stepped forward, Gandalf saw that she was tall, her robes embroidered with symbols he had never seen before. "You do not belong to these sands, gray wanderer," she said in a tongue that was both harsh and melodic. "Yet you walk them as if seeking something lost." Gandalf took a slow breath, choosing his words carefully. "I seek the paths of old friends. Have you heard of two who came from the west, clad in robes of blue?" The woman's eyes darkened. She turned to her companions, and they murmured among themselves. Then beneath the desert, a place where the wind does not touch and the sun does not see. Our ancestors feared it, but something stirs there now. If you wish knowledge, then walk that path and return with what lies hidden in the dark. And so, before the night had waned, Gandalf found himself riding into the vast emptiness of the desert, where the stars watched in silence, and the sands whispered secrets older than the world itself. The desert stretched before him like an endless sea, golden by day, silver beneath the pale touch of the moon. The wind carried voices of the past, whispers in forgotten tongues, names eroded by time. Gandalf rode onward, his staff aglow with a faint blue shimmer to guide his way. The veiled woman and her kin had given him little direction, only the warning that the ruin lay buried beneath the sands, where the wind did not reach. For 3 days and nights, he traveled eastward, where the dunes grew high as fortress walls, and the stars overhead took strange and foreign shapes. The sun was merciless, yet he pressed on, following the faint pull of something unseen, some lingering trace of power, old and half buried beneath centuries of dust. It was on the 4th night that he found it, half buried in the shifting dunes. A structure of black stone jutted from the sands, its surface untouched by time or weather. Strange carvings wound their way across its walls, serpents devouring their own tails, spirals that led nowhere, symbols that seemed to shift when he looked away. This was no mere ruin. It was a place of power, locked away by those who had feared what lay beneath. Gandalf stepped forward, pressing his hand against the stone. At his touch, a deep tremor ran through the ground, and the sands slithered away as if fleeing an unseen force. The entrance yawned open before him, a stairway plunging into darkness. A faint wind rose from below, carrying a scent of old incense and something else, something that stirred unease even in him. Clutching his staff, he descended. The deeper he went, the colder the air became, the walls closing in like the ribs of a great beast long buried beneath the earth. At last, he reached a vast chamber, lit by the eerie glow of stones embedded in the ceiling. Here, the carvings became more intricate, more sinister figures with hollow eyes, bent in supplication before a towering form, its hands stretched wide, as if offering both doom and salvation. A voice, dry as the shifting sands, broke the silence. "You are not the first to walk this path, wanderer." Gandalf turned swiftly, raising his staff. In the farthest corner of the chamber, where the light barely touched, a figure sat upon a broken throne. Clad in robes once rich, but now faded, with eyes that burned like embers in the dark, the man, if he was still a man, watched him with knowing amusement. "Who are you?" Gandalf asked, though he already suspected the answer. The figure smiled, slow and sharp. "One who once sought to remake the world, as all foolish men do. And you, I know well, Mithrandir, Alarin, wanderer of the West." Gandalf's grip on his staff tightened. "Then you know why I have come. I seek knowledge of those who came before me, two of my kind, clad in blue. never leaving the shadowed figure. Where are they? The man on the throne leaned forward, his voice barely above a whisper. Not all who are lost wish to be found, Gandalf Stormcrow. A chill passed through the chamber, and for the first time in centuries, Gandalf felt the weight of something greater than mere darkness, a presence, waiting, watching. The ruin was no mere tomb. It was a prison, and something within it had just awakened. A deep silence settled over the chamber, heavy as the weight of ages. Gandalf stood unmoving, his fingers tightening around the worn wood of his staff. The air had changed, no longer the dry, stale breath of a forgotten tomb, but something more insidious. A presence stirred, ancient and unseen, pressing against the very fabric of the stone around them. The figure upon the throne leaned forward, eyes gleaming with something between amusement and warning. "You feel it, don't you?" he murmured. "The thing that lingers here, waiting." Gandalf did not answer at once. He had walked through the ruins of fallen kingdoms, had faced shadows older than the reckoning of men. Yet the stillness of this place unnerved him. It was not the lingering malice of Sauron, nor the twisted corruption of Morgoth, but something else, something forgotten asterisk, yet never truly gone. "Who are you?" he asked at last, voice steady but edged with caution. The man's lips curled, though whether in mirth or bitterness, it was hard to tell. "Once I was called Celzaram," he said, "a name now lost to the sands. I was a king, a sorcerer, a seeker of truths hidden beyond the knowledge of elves and men alike. But there are doors that should never be opened, even by the wise." Gandalf's gaze flickered to the carvings upon the walls, depictions of figures bowing in supplication to a presence vast and undefined, a nameless entity with many hands and no face. Something beyond the dark lords of the past. "You delved too deep," Gandalf murmured, "and now you are bound to this place." Celzaram chuckled softly, though there was little humor in it. "Bound, yes, but not alone." His gaze flickered past Gandalf toward the darkness beyond. A whisper stirred the air, not with words, but with asterisk intent asterisk asterisk. A rustling like dry leaves upon a forgotten grave. Gandalf turned sharply, staff raised, as the shadows at the far end of the chamber began to asterisk move asterisk. Not mere darkness, but something alive. From the edges of the ruin, shapes began to stir, wisps of black, shifting like tattered remnants of something that had once worn flesh. They did not walk, nor glide, but seemed to asterisk unfold asterisk from the very air, seeping into existence like ink bleeding into water. Their presence carried no sound, no weight, only an unnatural stillness that pressed against Gandalf's mind. something else, something tied to this place itself. Tell me where the blue wizards went, Gandalf said, voice like steel. And I will see to it that this place is forgotten once more. Celtzarim watched him in silence for a long moment. Then, at last, he nodded. They came seeking to turn the east against the shadow, to plant seeds of rebellion in lands where Sauron's influence ran deep. But they found something older than Sauron, older than the Dark Lords themselves. And they did not return. Gandalf's grip tightened. Are they dead? Celtzarim's eyes flickered. Not all who vanish are dead, Stormcrow. Some are merely asterisk changed. Before Gandalf could speak, the wraiths, asterisk, moved asterisk. A sudden asterisk rush asterisk of darkness, cold as the void between stars. They did not touch him, but their presence alone sent a sharp, unnatural pain lancing through his mind. A pressure that sought to asterisk pull asterisk, to consume asterisk asterisk. With a fierce cry, Gandalf struck the ground with his staff. A blinding pulse of white-blue light erupted outward, searing through the darkness. The wraiths shrieked asterisk asterisk, a soundless wail, felt rather than heard, and recoiled into the depths of the ruin. When the light faded, they were gone. Only Celtzarim remained, watching him with a gaze that held neither malice nor fear. You should not have come here, the sorcerer murmured. Gandalf exhaled, steadying himself. Perhaps, but I will not leave without answers. Celtzarim studied him, then rose from his broken throne. His movements were slow, weary, as though he carried the weight of centuries upon his shoulders. He gestured toward a great stone door at the far end of the chamber, one half buried beneath layers of sand. Beyond that door lies the last record of where the blue wizards went, he said. If you wish to know their fate, you will find your answers there. Gandalf regarded him carefully. And what lies beyond? The sorcerer's expression darkened. A truth that was meant to remain buried. Gandalf took a step forward. The air around the door was thick, charged with something unseen. Old magic, woven into the very stone. His staff pulsed, reacting to it. With a final glance at Celtzarim, he reached out, his fingers brushing against the cold, ancient surface. The chamber asterisk shuddered asterisk asterisk. The door began to open asterisk asterisk. And beyond it, something waited asterisk. A deep groan echoed through the chamber as the stone door rumbled open, the ancient seals breaking with a whisper of forgotten magic. Dust poured from the widening gap, curling in the torchlight like restless spirits set loose. Beyond the threshold lay darkness, not the simple blackness of an unlit room, but something deeper, something that seemed to asterisk drink the light. Gandalf stepped forward, his staff aglow with white-blue fire. The air was heavy here, thick with power, pressing against his skin like an unseen tide. Whatever lay beyond this door had been locked away for a reason. He felt the weight of it in his bones. Behind him, Celtzarim stood motionless, his gaze distant, figure's lips curled in something too weary to be called a smile. Because some burdens are not mine to bear alone, Gandalf said nothing. With one final breath, he crossed the threshold. The chamber beyond was vast, far greater than the ruin above should have allowed. Pillars of black stone rose like ribs from the floor, vanishing into a ceiling lost in darkness. Faint carvings lined the walls, depicting strange figures with elongated limbs, their hands raised toward an unseen force. Unlike the earlier reliefs, these were asterisk holder, asterisk, untouched by mortal hands. And at the very center of the room lay a great asterisk circular, well, asterisk, its edges marked by runes that pulsed with a dim, reddish glow. It was not water that filled it, but a substance asterisk, thick and dark, shifting as though alive. A whisper curled through the air, not spoken aloud, but seeping into Gandalf's mind like ink spilled into water. You have come too far, Istari. Gandalf's breath stilled. This voice did not belong to Keltzarim, nor was it the whisper of the wraiths that had lingered in the chamber before. This was something else. His grip tightened around his staff. Who speaks? Silence. Then a ripple in the asterisk, black pool, asterisk, as if something within had stirred at last. The surface shuddered, shapes forming beneath the shifting dark. At first, they were nothing more than vague outlines, but then they became clearer. Two figures, clad in blue robes. Gandalf's pulse quickened. He stepped closer, staring down into the well. The figures were motionless, as though frozen beneath a layer of glass. Their faces were half obscured, but the outlines of their forms were unmistakable. Elater Palando. His voice was barely a whisper. For centuries, he had wondered what had become of them. The blue wizards had gone east, seeking to turn the tide of Sauron's influence in lands unseen, asterisk. But no word had ever returned. Even the wise did not know their fate. Now at last he had found them, but something was wrong. The moment their names passed his lips, the shadows around the well asterisk shuddered asterisk, a tremor that ran through the air itself. The runes along the edges of the well asterisk flared asterisk, their glow intensifying. And then the figures in the black water moved asterisk. Slowly their faces lifted, asterisk, eyes opening, hollow and dark. The whisper returned, curling through the chamber like a cold wind. You seek the lost, but they are not as they were. Gandalf took a step back, his heart pounding. The figures within the pool were no longer still. Their limbs twitched, slow and unnatural, as though asterisk waking from a slumber too deep to be called sleep, asterisk. The shadows within the well thickened, stretching outward, asterisk, toward him asterisk. With a sharp cry, Gandalf raised his staff. Light blazed forth, asterisk flooding the chamber in white fire asterisk. The force of it struck the well, sending ripples cascading across its surface. The figures asterisk shuddered asterisk asterisk, as though struggling against something unseen. And then asterisk asterisk, a voice, separate from the whispering dark, broke through asterisk asterisk. Gandalf. The word was raw, strained, torn from a throat long unused. But it was asterisk familiar, asterisk asterisk. It came from within the well. A surge of power lashed out, asterisk asterisk, not from Gandalf, but from the figures within asterisk. The darkness rippled, the runes faltered, and for the briefest moment, he saw something else within their faces. Recognition, pain, a struggle against something greater than themselves. Gandalf's breath caught. They were asterisk still in their asterisk. They had not perished. They had not faded into shadow. They had been asterisk, trapped, asterisk asterisk. A surge of determination burned through him. He stepped forward again, staff raised, pouring more of his power into the light. The chamber asterisk shook asterisk. The carvings along the walls cracked asterisk asterisk. And the darkness within the well asterisk screamed asterisk asterisk. A soundless wail of something being asterisk forced back asterisk. The figures in blue convulsed, their bodies writhing beneath the surface. And then, suddenly, one of them reached out asterisk. A hand half-formed broke through the black water. For the first time in centuries, asterisk, one of the blue wizards had returned. The chamber trembled, the black well surging, as if something within was thrashing against its prison. Gandalf stood firm, his staff burning with a cold, silver light that cut through the suffocating dark. The hand reaching from the well was gaunt, spectral, its fingers trembling, as though struggling to hold onto the world of the living. Help me. The voice was raw, strained, but unmistakably human, asterisk asterisk. It did not belong to the whispering presence that had filled the chamber before. It was asterisk asterisk, one of the blue wizards, asterisk asterisk. With swift purpose, Gandalf extended his own hand, grasping the outstretched fingers. A shock ran through him at the contact, asterisk asterisk, not cold, but fire asterisk, as if he had reached into the heart of a storm. A force surged through the connection, a pulse of asterisk asterisk, something old, something lost asterisk. He gritted his teeth, pouring his will into the link. Come back. For a moment, the shadows recoiled. The black water hissed, rippling with anger, as though the well itself fought against his intervention. The runes along its edges flickered violently between red and white, their power unstable. The figure beneath the surface convulsed, half rising, asterisk asterisk, a face, breaking through the liquid veil, asterisk asterisk. It was Palando asterisk. His eyes were wild, clouded by years of torment. His blue robes darkened as if stained by time itself. Yet within them, there was still a glimmer of recognition. He asterisk knew asterisk Gandalf. pressing against the chamber walls, slithering like an unseen tide. The black well, boiled asterisk, its surface writhing as if it were alive. The asterisk force that held a ladder did not intend to let him go. He is bound, Palando gasped, his voice hoarse with pain. His grip on Gandalf's wrist tightened as the shadows tried to pull him back asterisk. We were deceived. We thought we could change the east, but it was waiting for us. Gandalf could feel the unseen power straining against him, trying to reclaim its prisoner. The east had not swallowed them. It had ensnared them. What holds him? Gandalf demanded, his mind racing. Palando's face twisted with anguish. A name forgotten, a power before the Dark Lords. His breath came in ragged gasps. Not of Sauron, not of Morgoth. Older, deeper. And then, for the first time, Gandalf felt it. Not a mind, not a will, but a hunger asterisk, something vast, something unseen. It was not a being as Morgoth had been, nor a lieutenant like Sauron. It was something that existed beneath Middle-earth itself asterisk, something that had slumbered through the rise and fall of all great kingdoms, and it had taken a ladder asterisk. The shadows surged asterisk violently asterisk furious asterisk at Palando's escape. The chamber asterisk shook asterisk, dust falling from the ceiling. The runes around the well asterisk cracking apart asterisk. Gandalf made his choice. With one last burst of power, he pulled Palando free. The blue wizard lurched forward, breaking from the black water with a terrible cry. The instant he was freed, the shadows howled asterisk, recoiling like a wounded beast. But a ladder did not follow asterisk. Gandalf saw, just for a moment, his figure asterisk staring up from below asterisk, his face calm, as if he had long since accepted his fate. And then he was gone. The well asterisk sealed shut asterisk, the dark collapsing inward like a great mouth closing. The runes flickered once, then died. A terrible stillness followed. Palando lay upon the stone, trembling, his breath ragged. Gandalf knelt beside him, pressing a steadying hand to his shoulder. The blue wizard's eyes flickered open, and for the first time in an age, he was asterisk-free asterisk. But a ladder was lost, and deep beneath the earth, asterisk, something still waited. The chamber lay in silence, save for Palando's ragged breathing. The black well had sealed, its runes now cold and lifeless, as though it had never been open at all. Yet the memory of what had transpired still pressed upon Gandalf's mind. A ladder was lost, or worse, asterisk taken. Gandalf helped Palando sit upright, steadying him with a firm hand. The blue wizard looked diminished, his once proud robes tattered and darkened, his face hollow as if the years had drained something vital from him. But there was still asterisk, well, asterisk in his eyes. A remnant of latter's face. "It is still awake." Gandalf frowned, glancing toward the sealed stone. The presence had receded, its hunger momentarily sated. But Palando was right. Asterisk, it had not returned to sleep. Whatever ancient force had ensnared a ladder was still lingering, watching, waiting. "Tell me what happened," Gandalf said. Palando exhaled shakily. "We came to the east, seeking to turn hearts against the shadow, asterisk. We thought we were stronger than the darkness, that we could carve a path through the lands where Sauron's reach had grown deep." His fingers dug into the stone beneath him. But we did not understand what lay beneath these lands. We saw the signs too late. The asterisk, whispers in the wind asterisk. The ruins built in circles with no doors. The people who spoke of dreams they did not own. We had been watched from the moment we crossed into these lands. His voice dropped lower, hoarse and pained. Then we found asterisk it. Gandalf remained still, letting the weight of the words settle. "The power that took a ladder." Palando gave a slow nod. "Not a dark lord, nor a Maya like Sauron. Something older. It does not conquer as they do. It does not command. It waits. It offers." His eyes darkened. "And when we were at our weakest, it whispered." A ladder listened first. He thought he could master it, bend its knowledge to our cause. But the more he listened, the more he asterisk changed. He stopped speaking of rebellion against Sauron, and instead spoke of asterisk, something greater asterisk, a force deeper than light or darkness. Gandalf's jaw tightened. He fell into its grasp. Palando flinched, as if the words struck something raw. I tried to stop him. I tried to pull him back. But by the time I realized what had happened, he had already crossed the threshold. He was no longer just a ladder. Palando's voice wavered. He was something else. The air between them grew heavy. Gandalf did not speak for a moment, weighing what he had heard. He had known a ladder, proud, willful, determined. To hear that he had given himself willingly to this unseen force chilled him more than any threat Sauron had ever posed. "And you?" Gandalf finally asked. Palando let out a slow, bitter breath. "I fought, I resisted, but the more I struggled, the more it pulled. It does not force its will upon you. It makes you asterisk want to stay asterisk. It wraps itself around your thoughts, your purpose, your very being, until you can no longer tell where you end and it begins." His fingers curled into fists. I do not know how long I was there, suspended between waking and dreaming, hearing its voice as my own thoughts. But I remember you. His gaze lifted to Gandalf, raw, and filled with something that almost looked like relief. "I remember your light, and I asterisk held on." Gandalf exhaled, feeling the gravity of his friend's words. "Then you are stronger than it thought." Palando let out a weak darkness too patient. As they ascended the stone steps, the walls around them whispered asterisk asterisk. You will return, Istari. Gandalf clenched his jaw, but did not turn. Palando shuddered, his grip tightening around his own robes, as though shielding himself from the presence that lingered. Then, at last, they stepped beyond the ruins. The desert night stretched before them, vast and indifferent, the cold wind sweeping away the stifling weight of the chamber below. Overhead, the stars asterisk burned brighter than before asterisk, as if defying the darkness that festered beneath the sands. Palando inhaled deeply, as though tasting freedom for the first time in an age. I never thought I would see the sky again, he murmured. Gandalf glanced at him. The east has taken much from you, but you are free now. Palando's gaze remained distant. Free, he echoed. Then, after a moment, he shook his head. No, not yet. He turned to Gandalf, and for the first time since emerging from the ruin, there was asterisk asterisk fire in his eyes. A ladder is still down there. Gandalf nodded solemnly. And if what you say is true, then he is no longer just a ladder. Palando's expression darkened. Then we must find out what he has become. Gandalf looked out over the sands, feeling the weight of the road ahead. The east still held asterisk asterisk secrets, unseen asterisk asterisk, and the presence beneath the ruins had not finished with them yet. But for the first time, there was asterisk asterisk, hope asterisk, for Palando had returned, and a ladder, wherever he was, had asterisk not yet been lost completely. But the whispers of the east carried a warning through the night wind, curling through the sands like a lingering promise. He does not wish to be saved. The desert stretched before them, cold beneath the starlight. The ruin at their backs sat heavy upon the land, its presence lingering in the air like a wound that would not close. Gandalf and Palando stood in silence, the wind stirring the sands around them. Though they had left the chamber behind, the weight of what they had witnessed remained. A ladder was still down there. Palando exhaled slowly, his breath unsteady. He was right in front of us, he murmured. I could feel him just for a moment. His fingers curled into fists. But I could also feel asterisk it, asterisk asterisk, the thing that holds him. It will not let him go easily. Gandalf studied him. Palando had barely escaped with his own mind intact. Yet already, he was speaking of returning, of fighting again. He had always been the most steadfast of the two blue wizards. But what Gandalf saw in his eyes now was something more than determination asterisk. It was a debt that needed to be paid. You are not strong enough to face it again, Gandalf said carefully. Not yet. Palando looked at him sharply, but the protest that rose in his throat never left his lips. He asterisk knew asterisk Gandalf was right. The force beneath the ruin had nearly taken them both. Rushing back in would be folly. Still, he did not look away. Then, what do we do? Gandalf turned his gaze eastward. The lands before them were unknown, even the maps of the wise ended, where travelers vanished without word, and where whispers spoke of cities built beneath the earth, of temples that bowed not to Sauron, but to asterisk older, stranger things asterisk. Then ruin it shall be, Gandalf murmured. They did not linger. The ruin behind them remained still, yet both could feel the unseen presence watching their departure. It was not done with them yet. By dawn, they had reached the first of the great dunes that marked the edge of the deep desert. Palando moved with renewed purpose, his stride stronger than it had been the night before. But there was something else as well, a shadow behind his eyes, a weight that did not come from exhaustion alone. Gandalf noticed, but did not yet press him. Some wounds do not show themselves until they break. As the sun climbed higher, the sands beneath their feet began to change. No longer soft and shifting, but hard, cracked with veins of black stone running through them. They were leaving the lands of the Haradrim behind, stepping into the threshold of the unknown. The first sign of life came at dusk. A fire, distant, flickering at the base of a great rock formation, jutting from the sands like the ribs of a fallen beast. Palando tensed. We are watched. Gandalf nodded. He had felt it too. The weight of unseen eyes, the quiet presence of those who had marked their approach long before they had noticed the fire. These lands did not welcome outsiders. Still, there was no choice. They needed supplies, information, asterisk, a path forward. As they drew closer, figures emerged from the deepening shadows. Wrapped in dark cloth, their faces hidden behind veils of deep red, they moved with quiet precision, their hands never far from the curved blades at their sides. Desert hunters, outriders of a forgotten kingdom. A woman stepped forward, taller than the others, her eyes sharp as a hawk's. Unlike the rest, she did not wear a veil. Her dark skin was marked with golden tattoos, her gaze measuring. You are far from your lands, travelers, she said in the tongue of the east. And yet, you walk as if you belong. Gandalf met her gaze evenly. Perhaps because I have walked many lands before. The woman studied him a moment longer, then turned her attention to Palando. Her expression shifted slightly, something flickering across her face. You, she murmured, I know you're kind. Palando stiffened. Do you? She nodded. We call you asterisk starwalkers, asterisk. Those who came from the west, speaking of wisdom and war. 2 of you walked this path long ago. 1 returned. 1 did not. Her eyes darkened. And now you stand before me again. Gandalf felt the air shift. These people knew of the blue wizards. Palando swallowed, his voice barely above a whisper. What do you know of the one who did not return? The woman's gaze lingered on him for a long moment before she gestured toward the fire. Sit, and I will tell you. Gandalf and Palando followed her to the flames, their shadows stretching long across the sand. Around them, other warriors settled, their presence a silent but unyielding reminder that they were asterisk guests, not yet trusted. The woman sat across from them, her fingers tracing patterns in the sand as she spoke. The one you seek passed through here long ago, though he was not as he once was. He carried with him a power unlike any we had seen, a power that bent the desert winds to his will, that made the sky leap fire and the earth tremble. He spoke of a new dawn, of a great change coming to the east. Her eyes lifted to Palando. He called himself a ladder no longer. A chill passed through Gandalf. Then, what did he call himself? The woman hesitated, then spoke a name that had not been heard in the West. A name that did not belong to the man they had once known. He called himself the Veiled One. Palando exhaled sharply, his hands tightening in his lap. A ladder was not just lost. He had become something else, something with purpose. Gandalf met the woman's gaze. Where did he go? She looked toward the eastern horizon, where the stars burned in unfamiliar constellations. Beyond the sands, to the black pillars, where the sky never touches the land, to the temple that has no name. Palando closed his eyes, his breath slow, measured. Then, after a moment, he opened them. Then that is where we must go. Gandalf nodded. The path was set. But as the night wind stirred the sand around them, a whisper echoed in the dark. You are too late. The whisper drifted through the desert air, faint yet undeniable. Gandalf's eyes flickered toward the surrounding dunes, sensing something just beyond the reach of sight. Palando, too, tensed, his breath slow, measured. The warriors seated around the fire did not react. They either did not hear the voice, or had long since grown accustomed to such things in these lands. The woman across from them, asterisk, the one who had called a ladder, the Veiled One, asterisk, watched them carefully. She had expected their reaction. You hear it, don't you? She said softly. Gandalf turned his gaze back to her, reading the weight in her eyes. She was not surprised by the voice. What is it? He asked. She hesitated, then traced a circle in the sand with her fingertip. A warning, she said at last, or an invitation. Her dark eyes lifted to meet his. For those who stray too close to the black pillars, the air itself carries voices. Some say they are the echoes of those who walked too far and did not return. Others say they are something older. Palando's jaw tightened. And you? She studied him. I say they are the whispers of the one you seek. A slow, unsettled silence followed. The fire crackled between them, casting shifting shadows upon the rock behind her. The Veiled One, a ladder. What had he become? Gandalf finally spoke. Tell us of the black pillars. What lies there? The woman exhaled through her nose, as if weighing how much to reveal. They are not of this age, she said, nor the one before. They stood before the East had kings, before the first men ever carved their names into stone. No one built them. They simply, asterisk, were. Palando stared at her. And yet he went there. She nodded. He did not just go there, he was called. He waits for you. Gandalf felt a slow, creeping sensation along his spine. This presence, asterisk asterisk, this force that had claimed a ladder, asterisk asterisk, was not hiding. It wanted them to come. The woman gestured toward the sands beyond their campfire. The way is long. You will need a guide. Palando frowned. And you would take us there. She let out a low chuckle. No, I have no desire to cross that threshold. But there is one among my people who has been there before. He will take you if you are willing to walk the path of the dead. A murmur rippled through the gathered warriors. Some of them cast uneasy glances at one another, while others kept their eyes fixed upon the fire, avoiding the subject altogether. The path of the dead. Gandalf knew that tone. He had heard it in Rohan, when men spoke of the cursed road beneath the Dwimmerberg. It was the voice of those who knew fear well, but also knew it was too dangerous to speak of in full. The woman stood and gestured for them to follow. Come, he will see you now. Gandalf and Palando exchanged a brief glance, then rose to their feet, trailing after her as she led them away from the fire, into the deeper shadows of the camp. They wove between tents and low rock formations until they reached the farthest edge, where a lone figure sat upon a weathered stone, sharpening a curved dagger against a piece of obsidian. He did not look up as they approached, but his voice carried in the quiet air. I know where you wish to go. Gandalf took a step forward, studying him. The man was old, his skin worn by sun and wind, but there was an asterisk asterisk stillness to him, as though time had little hold upon his spirit. His hair was bound with silver threads, and his garments were those of a wanderer, one who had walked the desert long enough to become part of it. You have been to the Black Pillars, Gandalf said. The man ran his dagger along the stone once more, then lifted his gaze. His eyes were pale, almost colorless, like a man who had stared too long into something that should not be seen. I have asterisk survived the Black Pillars, he corrected. That is not the same as returning whole. Palando's voice was low, cautious, and if we go there, the man's expression did not change. Then you will understand why I have spent my life running from it. A breath of silence passed. Gandalf, ever patient, spoke evenly. And yet you will take us. The man studied them for a long moment. Then, slowly, he sheathed his dagger. I will. Palando's fists clenched at his sides, his resolve unshaken. Then we leave at first light. The guide shook his head. No, if you wish to reach the pillars, we must leave now. Palando frowned. Now. The man's voice was quiet, but firm. By day, the land twists. The dunes change, and no path stays the same. But by night, the way is clear for those who listen. Gandalf understood. The Black Pillars did not rest beneath the sun. A gust of wind swept through the camp, rustling the tents behind them. Somewhere in the distance, the whisper returned, curling through the night like a thread of unseen silk. He is waiting. Palando exhaled, his shoulders rising and falling. His voice, when he spoke, was steady. "Then let us go." The guide nodded, then turned away, stepping into the desert beyond the fire's reach. Without hesitation, Gandalf and Palando followed. Behind them, the campfire burned on, casting long shadows against the dunes. Ahead, the stars stretched above them, unfamiliar constellations, guiding them toward the asterisk-black pillars, the nameless temple, and the lost soul who no longer called himself a ladder. And in the far distance, something stirred. The desert swallowed them whole. Beyond the reach of the campfire, the world became a vast, formless expanse, asterisk, black sand beneath blacker sky, the stars their only markers. The wind whispered in low, restless tones, never still, never silent. Gandalf walked at the guide's side, his staff illuminating the shifting dunes with pale silver light. Palando followed close behind, his eyes set on the horizon where the black pillars waited. They did not speak. The silence felt imposed, as if the land itself forbade idle words. Even Palando, who had once walked these roads before, seemed unwilling to break it. The guide moved without hesitation, though his steps were deliberate, careful. He alone seemed at ease in this place. "Do not stray from my path," he warned at last, voice barely more than a murmur. "The desert is not empty." Palando tensed. "What do you mean?" The guide's pale eyes flickered toward him. "The path to the pillars is watched, not by men nor beasts, but by the remnants of those who walked too far. They do not rest." Gandalf's grip on his staff tightened. Shades. The man hesitated. Perhaps, or perhaps something worse. They walked on. The sand beneath their feet was not soft, but hard as stone, cracked in long, jagged lines that glowed faintly beneath the starlight. The further they traveled, the more unnatural the land became. It was as if the desert itself had once been asterisk, melted asterisk, its surface warped by something beyond the hand of time. Then asterisk, a sound, not the wind, not the shifting dunes, a whisper. Gandalf turned sharply, his eyes scanning the empty sands. Nothing. The land remained still. Yet the whisper had been real. Palando had heard it too. His breathing was measured, his fingers clenched tight around the fabric of his robes. "We are being watched," he murmured. The guide did not stop walking. Yes, Gandalf listened carefully. The whisper had not been a word, nor a voice, but something older, asterisk, an impression, curling through the air like smoke. It did not seek to frighten them. It sought to pull them forward. He turned to the guide, who built the pillars. The man did not look at him. "No one built them." Gandalf frowned. "Then what are they?" For the first time, the guide hesitated. His face was unreadable, but there was something guarded in his voice. "They are all that remains of what was here before the first men, before the first kings, before names were spoken. ruins. They were not monuments. They were something left behind. A feeling settled over him, asterisk, not fear, but a knowing. A quiet certainty that the land itself had memory, and it had not yet turned its gaze away. Ahead, the air began to change. The wind ceased. The sky, vast and endless, seemed lower asterisk. The stars too near, as if pressing down upon them. And there, on the horizon, asterisk, they saw the first of the black pillars. It rose from the sands, towering and monolithic, its surface smooth and black, without mark or imperfection. The very sight of it stirred unease, for it was too perfect, too unnatural. And beyond it, more stood in silent formation, stretching into the distance like the ribs of some ancient beast buried beneath the world. The guide slowed his steps. We have arrived. Pallando exhaled sharply, staring ahead. It looks the same, he murmured, as it did all those years ago. Gandalf studied the massive structures, his mind racing. The pillars held asterisk no markings, no script, no sign that they had ever been shaped by hands mortal or divine. And yet, they were asterisk not lifeless. He could feel something within them, asterisk a presence, vast and waiting. Then asterisk the whisper returned. But this time, it was not a distant sound upon the wind. It spoke from the darkness between the pillars. You have come. Gandalf and Pallando froze. The voice was not human. It was asterisk deep, layered, ancient beyond reckoning. It did not boom or echo, yet its weight pressed against their minds, curling around their thoughts like unseen hands. The guide dropped to one knee, bowing his head. He is here. Pallando took a step forward. A ladder. The wind did not stir. Yet the shadows at the base of the pillars asterisk shifted asterisk. Something moved within them. Then he stepped into the light. A figure in deep blue robes, his form unchanged, yet his presence utterly foreign. His face was hidden beneath a hood, yet the air around him hummed asterisk with power neither of the light nor of the shadow. Gandalf's breath caught. It was a ladder, but it was not. Pallando whispered his name again, almost pleading. Brother. The figure tilted his head asterisk, as though considering the word. Then, slowly, he lifted a hand. His fingers moved through the air as if shaping something unseen, and the sky above them shifted. The stars themselves bent. Gandalf's breath stilled. This was no illusion, no trick of the eye. hooded face turned toward him. The wind was gone. The stars were wrong. The black pillars loomed around them, silent and waiting. Then softly, simply a ladder answered. The veil of this world. A terrible silence followed. Gandalf felt the weight of those words settle over him like a shadow cast from something immense, unseen, and patient. A ladder was not lost. He had gone somewhere they could not follow, and now he had returned. The whispers stirred once more, curling around them like a great unseen tide. You should not have come. The sands shifted beneath their feet. The black pillars hummed asterisk, as if waking from a long sleep, and the sky above them began to fracture. The air asterisk shuddered asterisk. The sky above them, vast and unbroken for countless ages, now bore asterisk fractures. Asterisk, thin lines of darkness spreading through the stars, like a mirror beginning to crack. The black pillars hummed asterisk, their presence pressing against the fabric of the world itself. Gandalf stood unmoving, his grip tight upon his staff. A ladder had changed. The weight of something vast clung to him, something neither of the light nor the shadow, something that had waited for a mind strong enough to listen. Palando took a step forward, his hands trembling at his sides. "What have you done?" he whispered. Aladur's hooded head tilted, as though considering the question. When he spoke, his voice carried layers, asterisk his own, and something else. "I have seen beyond the veil. I have seen the world as it truly is." The stars shifted again. No, asterisk, not the stars. The very sky bending, folding in ways that should not have been possible. A deep unease settled in Gandalf's chest. This was no mere display of magic. This was something that should not be. "What veil?" Gandalf asked at last, his voice measured, careful. Aladar finally turned to him. Though his face remained in shadow, Gandalf could feel his gaze. "The veil that separates truth from illusion," he said. "The barrier that binds us to this world, this shape, this time. We were sent here to break the hold of darkness, yet we were given only half the truth. There is something greater than the war between light and shadow." Palando's breath was ragged. "That is madness." Aladar took a slow step forward, the folds of his deep blue robes shifting unnaturally, as if they did not quite belong to the air around them. "Is it madness to see the chains that bind us, to question the path set for us by others?" Morgoth and Sauron sought dominion over Middle-earth, but they were only players in a greater design, asterisk, one that neither the Valar nor Eru themselves have spoken of. Gandalf felt a chill spread through him. This was not merely power Aladar had uncovered. It was knowledge. Knowledge that twisted the very foundation of the world. "You have walked too far," Gandalf said quietly. "You have touched something that should have remained beyond reach." Aladar stood unmoving. "I have become something more." Palando shook his head. "No," he said, voice filled with grief. "You have become something between them moved, and then, asterisk, they emerged. Figures without shape, things that bent the eye and the mind alike. Not wraiths, not spirits, not demons of Morgoth's making, but something older, asterisk, something wrong. They were waiting. The moment a ladder had spoken of them, had revealed their presence, they had begun to asterisk wake. Palando lunged forward, asterisk, not with power, not with magic, but with sheer, desperate will. He asterisk grasped a ladder's wrist, asterisk, his grip strong, unyielding. "Brother," he whispered, "come back." A ladder stiffened. The hum of the pillars wavered. The figures in the shadows, asterisk, shifted, asterisk, watching. For the first time, the weight of something asterisk uncertain, asterisk, passed over a ladder's form. A hesitation. Gandalf saw it, and he seized it. With a sudden, asterisk fierce, asterisk movement, he struck his staff against the earth. A burst of silver-white flame exploded outward, slamming into the black pillars. The air tore, asterisk, with the force of it. The fractures in the sky, asterisk, flickering, asterisk. The unnatural hum, asterisk, cracking apart. The figures in the darkness recoiled, asterisk, not in pain, but in asterisk surprise. A ladder gasped, asterisk. His form wavered, asterisk, as if caught between two forces. His hands clutched his head, asterisk. His voice filled with something not of power, but of asterisk, pain. Palando, asterisk, held on tighter. "Come back," he begged. "Come back to yourself." The whispers grew chaotic, asterisk. "You do not understand. He has seen. You cannot take him." Gandalf raised his staff again, and then, asterisk, a ladder screamed. A great asterisk force exploded outward, knocking them all backward. The sky shattered, asterisk, not into darkness, but into asterisk light. A blinding flash, pure and absolute, drowning the world in a single burst of white. Then, asterisk, silence. Gandalf awoke to the feel of cool stone beneath him. The wind had returned, moving gently through the sands. The sky above was asterisk whole once more, the fractures gone. Slowly he sat up. Palando knelt a short distance away, asterisk cradling a figure in his arms. A ladder, but now, asterisk, he was just a ladder. His robes, his face, his form, asterisk, they were his own once more. The terrible presence that had wrapped around him was asterisk gone. He lay unconscious, his breathing shallow, but he was himself. Palando was shaking. "We have him," he whispered, almost disbelieving. "We have him back." Gandalf exhaled. The black pillars stood asterisk silent, asterisk. The shadows between them had asterisk vanished, asterisk. The great presence that had watched them, asterisk, had receded, but not forever. A ladder shoulder. "We must leave." Palando nodded. Together, they lifted a ladder between them and began the long journey back. The veiled one, asterisk, was no more. But as they stepped away, a whisper curled through the wind, softer than before. "He has seen." Gandalf did not turn back. They walked on, leaving the black pillars behind, leaving behind the echoes of an asterisk truth too great to bear. And as the stars watched from above,